This is the Astrological Winds channel. I'm going to take a look at the astrological weather report for the month of December and the week of December 4th through 10th. So I've got a couple things to go through this week. And just so you all remember, the Astrological Winds channel is a free video blog that I give every week on YouTube. And if you like what you see here, please, if you have an account on YouTube, please become a follower. And don't forget to turn on your notifications if you do. And that means you will know whenever I post the blog, which is usually on Sunday and Monday. And remember, it was a podcast before it was a video blog, and it still is a podcast too. It's available on all kinds of podcasts, which, you don't really need to watch the video to hear it, and it frees you up to do it, to hear the blog at other times. So just look it up on your favorite podcast, Astrological Winds channel, and you should be able to find it there. It's distributed out through Buzzsprout, and a lot of them pick it up. And then also, if you have an Instagram account, I have it. Astrological Winds channel is also got its up on Instagram. Become a follower there too. I not only post the link there, but I do post additional information during the week in comment form many times. So give it some little extra tidbits during the week if you follow me on Instagram. And the other place I do post the link every week is on my private Facebook account, and you have to friend me first. So that's Matthew with 2 T's, Lawton, L-A-U-T-E-N, if you'd like to do it that way. And remember, it is a free service I'm offering, so I ask you to always pay it forward by passing it on every time you listen to it to somebody else that you know in your contact list who might be interested in it, and let them check it out and decide if they'd like to be a follower too. And also, I do accept any donations. None is too small, to help be a patron for the Astrological Winds channel. My Venmo handle is at the symbol A with the circle Matthew, with once again 2 T's, capital M, and there's a hyphen in the middle, and then the capital L-A-U-T-E-N, Lawton. So, like I said, no amount is too small to help me keep this going. And best way you can actually support me is I am a professional astrologer. I've been doing professional readings for over 20 years. I was trained formally for 7 years to do that, and I would love to do your chart or someone else's chart that you may know who's looking for professional service in astrology. Much different than a computer printout or reading a book and trying to figure it out yourself, or having a friend try to do the same and get a lot more depth and look at your astrology that way. So I'd love to do that for you. Just email me at matthui823@gmail.com and start a conversation about that without a commitment. We can talk about it. And once again, it's matthui823@gmail.com, and I'll go over all that contact info in more detail at the end. So December is a month of changing planets. Planets changing direction. So there'll be a lot of changes in direction of our lives. And if you'll remember, in November, Saturn went direct, and in October, Pluto went direct. And, all those outer planets have been retrograde for a long period of time together over the summer. So 3 more of them are going direct in December. And Mercury is going to have its 3rd retrograde of the year also. So it will actually go retrograde while 3. But what's going to happen is Neptune and Chiron and Jupiter are all going to go direct, which will leave only Uranus from the outer planets as the only one still retrograde by the end of the month. And of course, Uranus always likes to kind of stand out on its own a little bit, So, of course, it's going to be the last one, and I think it's January 24th is when Uranus will actually go direct, and then we'll have a couple months where every planet's direct, which is a really nice time. But so those 3 planets will, those 3 outer planets are all going to go direct. Mercury's going to go retrograde, and we have one outer planet aspect that I'm going to mention for the month too. We have a Saturn square Ceres this month too. So first off, this week Neptune goes retrograde. It actually is on Wednesday the 6th, and it will go it will go from retrograde to direct. It's been retrograde for 5+ months now, very slow moving planet, so it takes a long time to go through that cycle, but now we're going to have it direct for almost, approximately 7 months. And it's going to go direct at 25 degrees of Pisces. Neptune has been in Pisces a long time now, many, many years, and it is the sign that it is has the most affinity with. So it has very similar energies, and it will go until July 2nd. It will go forward in motion, and then it will turn retrograde again right at the very end of Pisces, literally within 4 minutes of degree or arc from it going into Aries, and then it will backtrack again through most of the rest of the year. So we're going to, maintain in Pisces. And really this Neptune in Pisces, there's really been two things that's really been prevalent through this decade or so that, that Neptune's been there. And that is, there's a lot of an underswelling of a big spiritual movement, of consciousness shifting on spiritual levels, on people's ideals, on what they believe in, those things. But it's been in Pisces, and even though Neptune is very comfortable in Pisces, it is a dualistic sign. So there's been really two sides even within that, structure. And I think, now we're going to be in the critical degrees of Neptune going through Pisces these next few months, those last degrees, and then it'll retrograde back through those degrees. I really think what we may see is like a big peace movement actually in the next year or so developing, and it may be in relation to what's going on in the Middle East, what's been continuing to go on between Ukraine and Russia, just a ground swelling of people whose consciousness has shifted over these 10 or 15 years and maybe expanded, taken in more values, become more tolerant. Maybe a ground swelling of a big peace movement, and it probably will be spurred on by a lot of what's going on today in the world, but also that duality will continue too. And both, and people, during Neptune and Pisces on an individual level, all of us were probably expanding our spiritual consciousness level, our religious consciousness level, what we ideally believe in, even our creativity, and all those forms have probably been opened up and have shifted the way we look at things, the way we have our values on those levels. And I think, now when it goes direct in these last degrees, we're really going to be committed to getting that out there individually, to, wanting to make our lives in the real world congruent more with our values. But like I said, this is a dualistic sign, and Pisces can be very strong about what it believes in and getting to an us versus them type of attitude. So on the world stage, even though I expect peace movements in many ways, I think we're going to continue to see a lot of, opposition in value systems driving wars. So it's almost like religious war. It's wars over, abstract things that we really value, although Neptune also rules oil, so that could have a lot to do with disturbances too. But I think we're going to really see that happen too, where we can really, both sides really strongly believing in their value and having a lot of faith that they're the ones that are right, and possibly even getting preaching, but that can create this us versus them energy. So so I think that's really, and like I said, on a personal scale, we're really probably going to want to put our values in our lives out into the physical world more until that July 2nd time comes. Now, on the 12th is when Mercury goes retrograde. And it's going to go retrograde at 9 degrees Cap. Now remember, all this year, Mercury's been retrograding in Earth signs, right? And this time, it's going to be, the beginning of it is going to be in Earth side until December 24th, when it slips back into Sagittarius and will complete the retrograde period on January 2nd at 23 degrees of Sag. So half the retrograde period is going to go back into the fire sign, but it's still going to be Cap. And then it will go direct on the 2nd, back into Capricorn on the 15th. And then we'll have 3 more weeks of Mercury in Capricorn again until the 6th. So we're getting basically 2 3-week periods of Mercury in Capricorn, and in the middle of that, another 3-week period of Mercury in Sagittarius. And I'll, get into a lot more of this next week when Mercury actually does, the meaning of it. But once again, like it has many times in the recent past, Mercury retrograde is going to be right during the holiday season again. So I'm warning all you holiday travelers. It seems to happen every year, snafus in getting around the holidays. So many people trying to travel at that time. A lot of poor weather in the Northern Hemisphere at that time. So if that's your plan, just expect to be, grounded again. Capricorn earthy energy by things, and Capricorn's cold, wintry kind of conditions, so that could be the kind of thing. But also remember, once again, and this is kind of natural, through that holiday season, you don't want to be starting anything new up either, right? That's a time. And when it goes back into Sag, I think it can bring back, some of the nostalgic feelings of the past and how that relates to you with Christmas and the holiday season. So very interesting. I'll get more into the Mercury retrograde meanings next week. Then on December 24th, this is really interesting too, is when the Saturn square Ceres. So remember, Saturn's all about restriction, right? And the cold, hard facts of reality restricting us somehow. And Ceres is about nurturing, which is really fits in with the holiday season. It's about family, it's about home, hearth, food, those kind of things, productive. And here we have this restriction right in the middle of the holiday season, December 24th. So what I'm thinking is that in a general sense, this holiday season is going to be more frugal for most of us, that, that the economic times or whatever other hard times, restrictions coming in through society, through the real world, taking away a lot of what we want, and really only have, we may have to focus on just what we need in this one. Like this can even go to a level of like, maybe your loved ones cannot connect with you this holiday season. Maybe it's something you normally have them, in your physical presence, and it just can't happen this time around. But it really can put a damper on, what we really want to desire to come in and like get us frugal, having to be conservative and like looking at things like, okay, we need to meet what we need rather than what we want. So that happening, like I said, right during the holiday season makes me think it's going to be one that doesn't quite have the pomp and the extravagance and the just really going for it energy that a lot of times it's brought to that season. Now, on the 26th, Chiron goes direct, and that will be in Aries at 16 degrees, and it will stay direct until July 25th, when it goes retrograde at 24 degrees of Aries. And once again, I think I've been saying this about Chiron and Aries for several years. It's about being responsible ourselves for our own healing. I really think in the last few months, what this Chiron retrograde has shown is like how we can hurt ourselves, like how our own actions can hurt us. And I think it helped us probably get another perspective of that on the inside, and we can see now, like, be more grounded about it, but at the same time take like responsibility for the way we put ourselves in situations that can hurt us. But at the same time, this is how we're learning, so this is, Chiron going direct in Aries is like, okay, now I'm, recognizing some of these things that I've done. And now what can I do with abilities that I have and the talents that I have now to work through that, to, once again, find some new parts of myself that I can get inspired with and go out on my own self-healing journey, take responsibility for my own healing journey in this energy. So very interesting. I'm like, we'll have that time to go. And, Chiron's going to be in Aries for a couple more years, so we still are going to, it's really about being responsible for our own healing journey, recognizing what our talents are, how we can help ourselves, and how ultimately helping ourselves helps others too. And just having the attitude that is an adventure, and it's going to take us to new places, and it's going to expose new parts of our personality, and we can bring them into us. Then on the 30th, Jupiter goes direct. And that'll be the last of the outer planets besides Uranus. That'll now all be moving direct. So Jupiter will go direct at 6 degrees of Taurus and will go into Gemini on May 26th. It does not go retrograde until next October 9th again at 22 degrees of Gemini. So this is it. This is going to be the last 5 months of Jupiter in Taurus. And I really think this will stabilize resources and things for a while for us. We'll be able to get back into a place where we can find some stability in our resources and start to get like slow, stable gains to that. I do think it'll be good for like the market and the material worlds. Like, things will go up in maybe a solid and stable fashion. And this is a time when we also, really are, also use things to take care of our loved ones, to make sure they have the things that they need, to have the things that, we, need to feel stable in our lives. And we, in this, and in a good way, this has us enjoying life, having us enjoy the physical planes of life and the benefits that come from the material world. So, we can get some good growth here. We can gain assets. We can gain money. We can, gain things that, objects that, that have value, and even our own self-esteem really can solidify under this energy. So, like I said, a month of planets changing directions, which means we're going to see changes in the courses of our lives. In many places where we felt we were like stuck or going backwards or having to rehash things, we're now going to be able to move forward. Now, the week of the 4th through the 10th, big thing I already talked about is Neptune is going to go direct, but we also have Venus going into Scorpio, the planet, the sign that it's in detriment with, and immediately trining Saturn. And then we also have a beautiful day where the Sun trines Chiron and Mercury trines Jupiter. And then next weekend, a very, very sweet Venus opposite Jupiter all weekend, with Venus conjunct Pallas at the same time. So 3 different things I want to talk about for this week. And it starts right now today on Monday with Venus going into Scorpio. And Venus, when it's in Scorpio, is the sign, one of the signs of its detriment traditionally, because it's a difficult place for light-hearted Venus to go. Scorpio is very deep, intense, passionate energy, and it is not usually lighthearted. It has the energy of an intensity. And so like the underlying energies of different relationships come up into reality, and they can be very distressing if what we see. We can see the shadow side of our loved ones, or even the way we relate to things, and that can bring up a lot of intense emotions within us that can be very triggering, and so, but there is like a lot of passion behind this too. It really runs the love-hate gamut. It's like you feel either intense love for people, or you feel really despise and hatred towards other people. But whatever it is, it's deep, it's passionate, it's full of energy and a drive, so like it comes out mainly in partnerships, because Venus in Scorpio likes to focus in on several deeper relationships that, that it can trust and is more intimate with than being more spread out and superficial. But that's when we also can see the shadow side, when we get into things that deep, and we can fall into games of manipulation, coercion, domination and subjugation in relationships, So we have to really be aware that imbalances can occur very quickly in the power structure of the relationships that we're having. So we really, if we can control that, and we have to watch for this betrayal energy and this kind of thing, and fear of rejection. A lot of times when Venus is in Scorpio, people are not as upfront with what they're saying too, because there is a fear of being rejected for the person that they really are. If I show my shadow, I'm going to get this rejection. So that can, even create this secretive kind of energy that people are like, well, what's going on? Are you trying to betray me? We get into very complicated relationships with and arrangements with Venus and Scorpio too, that can be very, very, can put us in some kind of dangerous places at times, or places that are very intense and trigger fears in relationships and things like that. But the good part of this, the Venus and Scorpio, is with the people that you can trust, you can get a depth and intimacy that, is very, very strong and trusting. Now, immediately on Tuesday, it trines Saturn, which is still freshly at the beginning of Pisces. And these two energies just work great together, because that brings stability into relationships, which is exactly what Venus and Scorpio wants. It brings this reality to relationships and being like, this is the way it is, so now I can work with this. And this is really good for stabilizing relationships, for building a solid base underneath them. It's like being able to detach now from some of that emotional stuff, because we've integrated it and now we're being real about it. And from there we can work with it and we can build stability. We can build a step-by-step solid relationship, which is what Scorpio in a fixed sign really would want anyway. But it's based on practical stuff. And this is really good for business relationships. Really, it favors those kind of relationships where you can get a lot of benefit and deeper connections with people in business and build up solid business relationships, But this is a very acute mind. It's sharp and it sees the details of things, and, and it can get to the bottom of things. And, it's also fits in with that conservative thing where it knows how to, use the resources it has wisely, not go overboard with it, So this is, really, and even if we're artistic, this can, bring the discipline you need to the Scorpio depth of what you're seeing and really get that out into the world. Now, like I said, there's a couple other things going on also this week, but and we have the Neptune go direct on the 6th, on Wednesday, and then the next day, the 7th, it's a very, very positive day. We have the Sun trine Chiron, and we have Mercury trine Jupiter on the same day. Right? And the Sun trine Chiron is like we found some kind of new outlet, a new creative part of us that maybe we only had glimpses of before. It's coming out and we can see it, and it locks into our flow, into our creative energy. It gives us, we start to different new parts of our personality start to emerge, and we can integrate it into our life path now in a really easy flow. So it's a real healing kind of energy. It feels good, to be yourself and be recognized for some of the things and talents that you have. And then this Mercury trine Jupiter will come right out of that, and it will enliven, it will give you a bigger vision. Once you realize you have these abilities and these talents and can do these things, it'll widen your vision. You'll want to take more in. You'll want to make bigger plans. You'll want to be, you'll be more tolerant of others too, and realizing that they have certain gifts that they can bring to you too that are mutually beneficial. And like I said, very acute, sharp mind with this, good planning, looking at the future and knowing what can work and bringing all that energy in. So it's a great time to, for creative intellectual work, getting that stuff out and making connections with others, sharing those plans into a bigger group, getting new information from people, being very tolerant of where others are coming from too, and realizing that, you can bring that in, a lively, excited mind about what you're seeing. So very, very fortunate day this week where we can really, feel like new parts of ourselves are being honored and that they can propel us into a new place in the future. And then next weekend is just going to be a sweet weekend, really. You have Venus opposite Jupiter. Now, Venus is also conjunct Pallas, but I think this will be really blissful. I mean, the Venus conjunct Pallas means we're going to be with the people who have similar ideas than us, who have similar beliefs in us. And so it's very supportive on that level. It's very supportive to the mind, and a lot of creative energy can come out of that together, and you can channel that energy really well, work well with people that, are having that have those same ideals as you, and really kind of like just feel like you're in with your in-group, that that you belong to this group. And then the opposition to Jupiter is just, beautiful. It really is great for personal relationships. Even though it's an opposition, it's the two beneficial planets. So really like getting and giving benefits, love, support to one another, and really enjoying life too. This is a passive kind of lazy energy. Next weekend is a good weekend for R&R. Just really being with friends, family, loved ones, close ones, and enjoying what life has to offer you right now, and just getting benefits. And we can go overboard too. You can easily overindulge, waste money on things that you don't really need, overspend money on things, overdrink, overeat, overimbibe in whatever you're doing, kind of like, it doesn't matter. If it's something that brings you pleasure, you can really go overboard with it with Venus, Jupiter, but it's all kind of in good fun, you might end up with a hangover or two, or like maybe gain a pound or a little bit less money in your like bank account by the end of the weekend, but it will definitely be for pleasure and fun and beauty and sharing that with your loved ones. So it's a really good weekend for that, to just going into the holiday season again. All right, well, that's what I got for us this week. It's really a week a lot about relationships, seeing reality of relationships, grounding out about that, and then, feeling through that, and then, finding those who you think are the ones that you can be stable and deep with. And then from there, the benefits will start to come in, because, then those people are going to like support those new parts of personality and talents and abilities that you're discovering. They'll be the ones you can make those new plans with into the future, and then they'll be the ones that you can enjoy life with next weekend, so it's really a lot of relationship stuff where it comes out of shadow and moves towards light this week. So really good way to work with the energy this week. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and this is a free video blog I've been doing for years, now on YouTube, for years before that on podcasts, and years before that even on a written blog on the web. And I'd love you to become a follower. If you have a YouTube account, please do that, and don't forget to turn your notifications on. And I'd love you to pass the link on to somebody else right now as soon as you sign off, even if you've done that for me before. I know we have tons of contacts in our phone these days. Please pass it on. It's the best way for me to get the blog to grow in a very natural and organic way. And remember, you don't have to watch the video of me in the camera. You need to hear what I'm saying, and you can do that on podcasts very easily. It's available on all kinds of podcasts. Look up Astrological Winds channel. You'll find it out there, and just you can be at the gym, you can be driving around, and that way you're not Instagram too. If you have an Instagram account, become a follower of the Astrological Winds channel on that. I do post additional comments during the week many times on certain days, and it's not in video or audio formats. It's just a comment you can read and absorb in less than a minute. And also, I do post a link on my private Facebook account. You have to friend me. That's Matthew Lawton, 2 T's in the Matthew, and it's Lauten. If you'd like to give a donation to the blog, same thing, Matthew Lawton, put a hyphen in the middle and the symbol @ before. That's my Venmo handle. No amount is too small, even $1 or $2. Any amount is welcome. Become a patron whenever you can. Help me out. And then, best way you guys can help me, of course, is I am a professional astrologer. I know a lot of you have done readings with me and been doing readings for over 20 years and would love to do your chart or one of your friends or family's charts when they're ready for a deep reading by a professional astrologer. It's much more holistic than some linear information you're getting from a book or a computer printout or somebody who might know a little bit about it. Your chart is with you your whole life, and a professional astrologer shows you that energy so that it's more clear for you and you can make better choices for yourself and have a more self-fulfilling life. So when you're ready for that, get in touch with me. Or if you already know that stuff well, every year around your birthday, you should be getting a predictive reading for the next year so that you see how the planets are affecting your chart for the year. And a lot of the issues we have year to year are directly related to the transits and things that are happening in our chart. So when we know that, we can work with that, and it's a lot easier. Our lives can become easier, help us make better decisions. And if also you know your chart well, and you're into the esoteric spiritual part of finding out what's really going on, I recommend fixed star reading for you. It's deeper soul purpose. Also, relationship readings, children's readings, okay? Relocation if you're thinking about moving somewhere else. All those things can be done. And I also do elections for when you're looking for the best timing to start something like a wedding or business, and also horary questions. If you have some burning emotional question you can't get an answer to, we can find the answer many times in a chart. Specific questions too, and if you're looking for some beginner classes, I have some of them available. Also, if you have a group that needs a lecture, a workshop, a mini question and answer session, mini readings for an event, all those things, just email me. We start a conversation, no commitment there. MATTHUE823@gmail.com. One more time, MATTHUE823@gmail.com. All right, I will see you guys all next week. We are going to have a new moon in Sag next week, and we're going to have Mercury go retrograde, so we got to be prepared for that. You guys know what that means. Finish up what you gotta before that backwards time comes in, and I'll see you all then.